Welcome back to Around the Block Volleyball. It's only been the regional matches for the NCAA Men's Volleyball National Championship, but boy, have things gotten absolutely haywire. Today, we're here to talk about everything that happened, the good, the bad, and the controversial, to say the least.
Yeah, we will get to that, but let's start off with round one. First game for us that we'll go through is the Pepperdine versus Fort Valley State, and Pepperdine walks away 3-0.
Yeah, I think we're just starting off with some of these lighter games, I guess.
Yeah, the first round.
Yeah, these are the ones where things kind of went as expected,
Yeah.
Pepperdine, really top-ranked team, top 6 team all year long. Fort Valley State, top of their conference, but not really looked at in the same manner. And I think we saw kind of why. I mean, Pepperdine kind of just outclassed them. Cole Hartkey literally hit perfect, errorless against them.
And, I mean, this Pepperdine team, we were talking about it going into the tournament, that they were one of those teams that could win the national championship. So we knew that this was going to be an uphill battle for Fort Valley State. All that being said, they still did look very good. Mm-hmm. I think they were always competitive at the very beginning of the set, for every single set. But then it just got away from them. Mistakes kind of piled up, or Pepperdine was kind of able to buckle down and then kind of pull away and then secure that 3-0.
Yeah, I think Pepperdine just really put a lot of pressure on them. Isaiah Fed was really doing his best out there. I mean, his swing, it was competing with, all the other players on the court. They were not outclassed in that aspect, but just everywhere else, I kind of felt like Pepperdine had it under control.
Yeah, and it's tough when, the pins are performing so well offensively for Pepperdine. I mean, Cole Hartkey went errorless, so he hit 650. That's insane. And then Ryan Barnett, Jose Gomez, they both also held their end of the bargain. Did really well offensively. Super clean. Very little errors, which, again, makes it more difficult for a team that is punching a little bit above their weight class in Fort Valley State playing against Pepperdine, that, you kind of look to play, hopefully, cleaner volleyball, miss less serves, less errors, and then maybe that's a way that you can kind of really compete. But Pepperdine played pretty clean, so that definitely made it more tough.
Yeah, I think Fort Valley State, they needed to play a little bit more perfect volleyball, but, every time there were errors happening, Pepperdine capitalized, and that's how we got what we got. Now we can just move on to the next game, where it was another 3-0, Loyola Chicago over St. Francis. This one, we can say this one actually played pretty close. Those first two sets, they did go into extra points, so that was pretty big for St. Francis. They are a really good team, honestly.
Yeah, and like I was saying, this is amazing to see for a program that is going down to D3.
Yeah.
It's sad for them that's the way that it's going, but again, it's really cool for that to be the send-off, that, it was a 3-0, but it was very close, and they really had their chances against Loyola Chicago. Brady Stump was amazing. Yeah. He was really good offensively, but again, we kind of knew how good Loyola Chicago could have been the whole season had they been healthy. They probably would have been a higher seed going into it. But they are kind of an unusual team, given all their health issues and their injuries. But they started to get a little bit healthy. The guys were starting to get going. They're still a really good team. It ended up being tough at the end.
Yeah, I mean, all of their pins pretty much hit around 45%. Yeah. So when a team's hitting that well, it's going to be tough to beat. But St. Francis came very, very close.
Yeah, I mean, again, 3-0 kind of doesn't... If you're just box score watching, it doesn't really tell you when you just see the 3-0. It is a lot closer than you think.
Yeah.
The game could have changed very, very differently. Could have easily stretched to 4 or even 5 sets had it gone the other way, but Loyola Chicago ended up still moving on.
And then on to the next game, our last 3-0 of that first round. We have USC 3-0ing Belmont Abbey. This was another one where it was a little bit expected, but I think USC came out of this game feeling pretty good. They did have a lot of things where they felt like, okay, hopefully some of this translates onto the next round. Like Dylan Klein had a pretty good game. Mm-hmm. Cooper Keene had a solid game as well. So, these are things that are good that we want to see. We'll talk about how that ended up, but, this game, it felt pretty clean for USC. Belmont Abbey, it was tough for them.
Yeah, again, I think they really were able to play a lot of clean volleyball. There was a lot of missed serves for USC, but outside of that, it was very clean, low error, especially offensively. I mean, everyone was hitting nearly 400% or better efficiency-wise. So it's going to be hard to be able to beat a team that is that good offensively when they can just side out every single time.
Yeah, I think also that USC was just able to shut down Caden Day, which was In our previous episode, we did mention him as the player to look at for Belmont Abbey. And of course, they shut him down a little bit. That was probably part of their downfall. But Zach Puentes did his best to sort of pick up the slack where it was happening, but couldn't happen. I think you really needed both of them to pop off for Belmont Abbey to have that chance.
Yeah.
But now we can move on to the real round one, first round banger. We had 5-setter for UC Irvine and Penn State, where UC Irvine comes out on top. Kind of a theme for them this weekend.
Yeah.
But this was quite a match. UC Irvine, they were the ones in the position where it felt like they were really letting Penn State kind of get into the game. They let that second set slip away. They lost in the third, and they played the fifth probably a lot closer than they wanted to.
Yeah, and this was such a close game. We can talk about that fifth set where it really just was super hectic. Penn State, they had all the momentum going through that fifth set. I think it was like 6-3 or something like that.
6-3.
And that's the tragic score. When it all changed, Cameron Cossey gets absolutely drilled in the nose. We still don't know what happened, but he ended up playing later on, but his nose, it looked like it was broken. It was bleeding crazy.
Yeah, the announcers thought it was broken. Yeah. But he was able to come back and play, but that was a very, very long delay of game. It probably took around like 10 to 15 minutes for them to stop the bleeding. He had to go change jerseys as well because he got blood on him.
Yeah.
And that momentum that Penn State was riding with, they looked really, really good at the beginning of the set. It was pretty much all gone because they got iced.
Yeah, sucked out all the energy from them as a team, from the stadium, all the hype that was going with them and that momentum. It got kind of taken away, and it really made it difficult to fight through it. They were still able to make this a 2-point game. They lost 15-13, but had it gone a different way, maybe Penn State would have won out this game. Unfortunately, it didn't work out like that. Cameron Cossey is an absolute animal for sticking in there after getting hit like that.
Dog.
Still playing. He ended up playing the match right afterwards too, so he was definitely okay. He was chilling, but it was insane. But he was great.
Yeah, if Sean Harvey did not hit the ball as hard, this is a domino effect, a butterfly effect. A lot of things could have changed, especially moving on to these regional finals this next round.
That's true, but we won't get too much in the weeds of the what ifs. But again, Penn State had an amazing season. This was a great way to really show how talented they are as a group. Unfortunately, this is the last run. This is the last run for a lot of the guys over there. We kind of talked about it. Coach Pav is going to be retiring. Ryan Merck, Jackson Hurt, Owen Rose, a lot of guys are going to be leaving this program. So bittersweet ending. Hopefully, it's going to be great turnarounds that Penn State will still be back with a good program. They still got great players. Sean Harvey will be back. He's another guy that we will look out for at Penn State, that he could really blossom into a really good player.
Yeah, and also shout out to Tristan Hassel, who came in. He wasn't the starter for the match on the right side, but he came in. He became a huge scorer for Penn State. He was part of the reason why they were getting a lot of momentum.
Yeah.
He was one of the big players who had momentum riding into that fifth up through the beginning, and it did get cut off. So, that's tough. But again, UCI, the momentum killer also of Trevor Clark being absolutely unstoppable.
Yeah.
Was also tough in that fifth set. So it was a crazy 5-setter, but it was also the most enjoyable, most intense game to watch on that Friday night.
Yeah, that game absolutely delivered. Shout out, before we wrap it up, shout out to Jackson Hurt, friend of the show. He had an amazing season. This was it's a very tough loss, but again, we're so proud of how he was able to play. It was amazing. He did really well.
Yeah, he was playing like a dog as well. He got a lot of intense points.
Yeah.
But now we're going to stick with UC Irvine as we move on to these quarterfinals, these regional finals. And this is the match that everyone is talking about. UC Irvine winning in 5 sets over the number 1 ranked UCLA.
Yeah, let's be real here. This is the reason why we're recording this episode.
Oh, yeah.
This is why probably everyone is tuning in to watch this episode from us. This game had everything that you would want and more. Absolute great play from everyone on the court here. UC Irvine had so many great plays. Andre Jokanovic, again, showing you the reason why he is the freshman of the year. So unstoppable. And he just has such great poise for a freshman. It's so impressive to watch such a young guy go out there, and it's not a cockiness, but it's really like true confidence in himself that he's going to do the right thing. make the right play, and he gets to show it off. He hypes up the team. He brings really good energy.
He absolutely did make the plays, but when talking about UCI in this game, we also cannot ignore the impact that Andreas Brink had.
Yeah.
He was absolutely balling out of his mind. Low-key, I did not know he had that in him. So that was insanely impressive. He was like one of their best attackers, which, normally you see him in that like second or third, even fourth, like in terms of where you prioritize them as attackers, but he came out, he balled his butt off this game, so all props to him. And also Trevor Clark, again, continuing his momentum from the previous day where he was nearly unstoppable as an attacker in the middle.
Yeah, and Mikey Goss, he had a not as great attacking game, but the service line pressure, you felt it. Every single time he went back to the service line, he had the chance of getting an ace, and I felt like you could see UCLA felt that pressure. I mean, he ended up getting 3 aces along with 3 service errors, but again, every time at the service line, you know that he was going to rip one really, really difficult, and you could tell the difference that he made even just from the service line when he didn't have as great of an offensive game. And also just, man, this team is so young too, though. I mean, we just mentioned their 2 pin hitters that are freshmen. Another freshman, Cameron Costi, man, he is so, so amazing. It's been amazing to see, a right side / setter, getting that setting spot, earning it, and he's doing so great with it. I mean, he's commanding the court and running the offense so smoothly. I think he's definitely finding ways to get the middles involved. Still getting Will Darcy on the right side.
Yeah.
And, their go-to guy right now has been Andrei Jokanovic. But Andreas Brink, he had a great game. He knew that it was the hot hand, and he definitely made sure to feed him.
And then one last thing before we move on to the thing that everyone really wants to hear us talk about, the big call. I just want to give a shout out to Shane Aiken as well. He played amazing defense these past 2 games especially, and I think normally when I think about UCI, I think about the team as a whole being really, really good defensively, but Shane Aiken managed to really, really stand out on the defensive end. He took up a lot of court, freeing up his attackers to, instead of trying to play too much defense, they were able to focus on attacking. So I really liked what he's been doing, especially these past 2 games.
Yeah, and that's against UCLA, best offensive team in the nation, and one of the better serving teams, if not the best serving team in the country, especially when you include like Andrew Rowan. So amazing stuff from Shane Aiken. Definitely got to sing his praise.
But now we can finally move on to what everyone's been waiting to hear us talk about, what everyone is talking about themselves. We have the 5th set call that would have given UCLA the match.
Yeah, that's that 15-13 would have been point, and it didn't go their way, unfortunately. And it really was insane. It was just a call that everyone is talking about. Did UCLA get robbed? I think that's kind of the main consensus, that everyone is saying that. But there are also the people, and I kind of agree to an extent, that yes, that call was, had it been made correctly, from what everyone is saying, where the ball was not touched and it was out, UCLA wins that match. And even with it reversed, they still have that lead, 14-13. You have opportunities to close out the set, or to close out the match. They still were not able to do that. I think, to me, that there is still some validity in saying, hey, they still had their chances. UCI ended up looking like the better team because, yes, sure, the call, but they still were able to kind of persevere through all that craziness that was going on. And I guess they came out as victors that day.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is yes, the call is part of the reason why they didn't win the match, but it's also not the reason why they lost the match.
For sure. That's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, I think the only problem when talking about this, though, is really that I think after making a call like that where UCLA is celebrating, of course for UCI, of course you make that challenge 10 out of 10 times. I mean, your season's on the line, you might as well go for it.
Yeah.
Most of the time when people go for things like that, it doesn't really work, and it felt like that was going to be one of these situations here. Mm-hmm. But obviously it went the other way. There was a touch called. I don't know if anyone really knows for sure. Cam Thorne seems to think not. He continuously has claimed that he did not touch the ball.
Shout out to that fan that got that comment out of him, and shout out Mama Thorne. She also commented on that as well. So, I agree. I mean, that was probably the best way to put it. It's so unfortunate. I feel really bad for the UCLA guys, especially a guy like Cam, friend of the show. We've met him, and he's been awesome whenever we talk to him. But you have to give your hats off to UCI. I think they definitely still showed why that they are a competitor, that they can win this game. And they showed it. They ended up winning the whole match. And now they get to move on to the semifinals. And they really are contenders now for that national championship. You really have to respect them.
Yeah, beating this UCLA team was very, very impressive. Now, of course, getting into UCLA's performance this match, we can start to nitpick a little bit where it really didn't feel like they necessarily came out with the most energy, the most drive to win. Now, of course, there's different ways that people go about the game, feeling a little bit more locked in or being a little bit more hyped up on the court.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of UCLA, what I felt like they were lacking was getting hyped up on the court, especially after that brutal call, which, of course, we're giving them full grace on that because that's majorly deflating where, that call gets made, you were in the middle of celebrating, and now you got to go straight into playing as soon as that call is made. You're probably furious on the inside because your own players are like, there's absolutely no way that we touched it. Honestly, seeing the replays on the Jumbotron that they have, they probably also went, okay, perfect. There's going to be no way that this gets reversed. Even the announcers on the broadcast, they were like, yep, there's no way that this gets reversed. All of us were probably like, yeah, there's no way that this gets reversed because the evidence is supposed to be like so obvious that you can't overturn it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't happen. Then UCLA, they don't have the timeout. They don't have any way to really like spend time to process that this happened. They have to go right into playing. They're all out of sorts there.
Yeah, I think it's so difficult. You're kind of, I mean, we're not in those huddles. We don't know these guys personally. Like, it's hard to say that how they should be acting or whatever, even when they're on the court. Like, I kind of liked your point, but I do also have to say we don't really know how they act. Maybe they just don't get hyped up like that. I mean, that's just, you play how you play. You are who you are. And that's okay. But again, like you said, it's such a difficult spot to be in.
Yeah, I think maybe that specific situation, you needed someone to like kind of like rile everyone up, get everyone like back into it or out of that like mentality because, that's something really hard to shake. And honestly, realistically, I don't know if there's any other team in the nation as well that could shake it off like that.
I don't think so. And honestly, I kind of thought that, watching it not live and seeing it, I feel like that probably was the nail in the coffin when the game was close, but it felt like, UCLA won the switch. They won 8-4, and then here comes UC Irvine. They ended up going on a run. They closed the gap, and that, to me, was the nail in the coffin, that the comeback was real, and UC Irvine was right on their heels, and it's such a difficult way to regroup after such, I assume to them, was a stunning call that they were not ready for. They assumed that they were able to just celebrate right afterwards again.
Yeah, they're probably getting ready to celebrate again. They watched the Jumbotron. Yeah. Everyone's like, dude, that feels like it's like, okay, not like feet above the block, but it's like, oh yeah, there's like a good amount of space. Yeah. We're good. We can celebrate. There's no obvious evidence, but
yeah. Damn. Yeah, and honestly, like, and we can talk about it at least for personal, what we thought about it. I mean, I really never really saw a touch.
I also still have not seen the touch on any of the video that's come out.
Yeah, I've tried to look at it in so many different ways. And again, we're trying to be as objective as possible. And I mean, we don't really have a dog in this fight. Neither of us are really particularly one fan of one team over the other.
Yeah.
I really just want to see good volleyball, especially, since we do run this show and this channel. It's like, we just want to see good volleyball, and we're not going to play favorites. And I didn't really see the touch, so I was just surprised. I really didn't think that was the way that the call was going to go. And of course, like, reversing a call, I always feel like it has to be so obvious that, and in this case specifically, that there has to be the touch. And it has to look so obvious that someone's finger was moving or the ball changed spin super clearly. I didn't really see any of that, to be honest.
Especially because we do not have these high definition, high FPS cameras.
Yeah.
People are hitting the ball too hard for us to be using these like older, outdated cameras that just, the frames, it like the ball's appearing right here and then to here. It's like no in between. We need that contact point. The cameras are not picking it up. So I don't know how you make that call really.
Yeah. You know who we should hit up? Hey, Nekova, you got that? Did you catch that live? Because because he's got a great camera and he's got great products and great media. That'd be crazy if he had that. What did he see?
Hey, yeah, someone hit him with the Nekova release the tapes.
That'd be so funny. But again, this is just more advocating, and more serious note. This is more to like advocate that we do need better cameras, especially for the men's game. And now the women's game is getting to that level as well, where the ball is just hit way too fast and the ball's moving way too fast, that realistically it is not always the fault of the ref, because they can only see what they see, and they're human as well. They don't have like crazy vision that and hearing that they can see the micro touches or whatever in real time. That, and I know that they have that like third ref that is watching the monitor, but again, just more advocation for better cameras and better quality for that, because again, we never really will know if the call is correct or not. I'm kind of like in that gray area of like, yes, I don't think it was touched, but again, they made the call, so maybe they saw something that we didn't.
Yeah, or at this point, NCAA, the men's volleyball, they have to release something about it that really like clears things up a little bit. I feel like people are.
You want that like 2-minute report that like the NBA does?
Yeah, something like that, or where they can just release the video where they believe that they saw the touch, because as of right now, everything that, us regular people, even some not regular people, I guess, like, players still don't really see the call. They don't see the logic. It's like, we want to kind of be reassured, okay, yeah, the refs made the right call here.
Yeah.
There is some like validity to this, and people are already making the jokes about someone checked the ref's call sheet. What were they betting on under the table? How's that bank account looking? So, to at least stop all those jokes, especially when sports betting is such a big thing right now.
Yeah,
you gotta do something here.
Yeah, but let's get back to the game part, because again, it was such a crazy call to end the game. It was so tragic because it was such great volleyball. But going back to just how UCLA played, again, like we were saying, we don't really know these guys, so it's hard to say like how they should be acting on the court or whatever. But again, you kind of felt it. It felt like it was not lazy, but lackadaisical type. Like there wasn't a sense of urgency all the time. And it kind of UCLA was able to do that the whole season. I mean, they're just such a great team. They're so talented that you don't really see that very often. You sometimes see like Zach Rama, he gets animated sometimes.
Mm-hmm. But again, Chris Connolly all the time.
Yeah, you would hope to see a little bit more of that, but again, it was such a close game. There's very little things here and there that it really turned the tide.
Yeah, I think what I say for UCLA and how they feel to me, what that vibe was like, it feels like they have that like quiet confidence where they're like, yeah, we're this good. We can come out and win this game still, but at the same time, it doesn't give you quite that same urgency, or it doesn't feel like the same urgency. Now, Cam Thorne, he's always going to celebrate his points. Anytime he makes a play, huge block, huge kill, he's going to celebrate like that after every point. But I think that doesn't necessarily do as much for making sure your team as a whole is locked in that we got to win this game. UCI is a dangerous team.
Let's go into more like individuals for UCLA now, because I feel like, we kind of talked about the fifth set moment, but there was a lot of things that they actually did very well. I mean, there's a reason why the game was so close. And I mean, Cameron Thorne is a great spot to kind of start off with. He hit so efficient. I mean, really the one error that he had was at the end of the game, which is, it was such a tragic.
That's a tough time, yeah.
Yeah, that was such a bad time, because how terminal he is. He's so efficient. He rarely makes attacking mistakes. That was the one time that he did, but it was a costly time, of course. But he, again, had a really good game. I mean, some serving struggles here and there, but offensively, he was doing everything you would want for. Such great as like a decoy for them, opening up areas for the pins. And he was so terminal. I mean, he ended up getting 8 kills, over 500% efficiency. He was super efficient.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like those outsides as well, we are saying like, oh yeah, they don't feel quite as animated, as quite into it. They still had amazing performances as well. I mean, Zach Rama's hitting 36, 37%. Sean Kelly's hitting 43, 44%.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh man, they had like really bad games. They were getting blocked hella or something like that. Yeah. Nope, they're still playing extremely, extremely well. It's just, to me, it felt like everyone had like one extra gear, somewhere where they could have switched it on at some points.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really fully there the entire match. And maybe that would have turned the tide. Maybe they wouldn't have needed to go to a fifth set. They could have handled this way earlier.
Yeah.
But it's hard to point out something specifically bad about what happened in this game for UCLA.
Yeah, I mean, it was a game of runs, and volleyball is such a game of momentum that, little things here and there just switch the tide just a little bit, and sometimes that's all you need to be able to win a game. And, UCLA unfortunately was on the shorter end of the stick on that. But I mean, the big turning point to me was also that third set, right? Had UCLA won that third set, they would have closed out the game in 4 sets already. And it could have been a completely different conversation. And it didn't go their way. I mean, you saw that little 2-point run at the end of the game to close it out for UC Irvine. Again, I just felt like when they needed it most, UC Irvine was the team that was able to clutch up and make those plays. And again, UCLA has been able to do that the whole season. There's a reason why they were the favorite the whole season. Going into the season, everyone was favoriting them. But I guess it really was just UC Irvine's day.
Yeah, it's tough. I honestly don't know what else to say about what happened in this match, especially from that UCLA side. I guess maybe would have been nice if David Decker had a little bit of a better game, but it's all these little small things, nothing huge that you can really point out for this UCLA team, where it's this is the gaping hole in their game. This is the real big issue that we have with them. There's nothing really like that.
Yeah.
I mean, UCI is also extremely good, so.
Yeah. I think maybe the one thing that I would say is, and this isn't, again, a crazy knock, but I think something that's always defined this UCLA team last year and, of course, into this year was they always just played cleaner volleyball. Less errors on the serving and the attacking, and it kind of didn't go that way this time. Yeah. I mean, you when you look at the stats, you saw they had just 1 less attacking error, but again, UCLA is usually very, very clean on that aspect. And from the service line too, they are usually very, very clean. And if they do miss, they usually miss less than the other team. This definitely did not go their way. It was 18 service errors for UC Irvine to 22 for UCLA. I think, again, had they played a little bit cleaner, and again, this is 2 points here, 2 points there, then UCLA would be the winners and they would be going on to semifinals. That's just, to me, watching it, what it looked like, that they just seemed a little bit more error prone than they usually are because they play so clean and they have that crazy high standard for themselves.
Yeah. Honestly, that did remind me of something negative that I did have to say about UCLA.
Okay.
So here we are rolling back that statement, but I think something to me that I noticed during this match and how it felt to me was that there was a lot of really diggable balls for UCLA on the defensive end that I think they normally don't have problems with, that they were either just not getting up properly, wasn't a good pass, or just straight up losing the point. And, that counts as a kill, and you don't really count those defensive errors, but to me, they feel like defensive errors in the way that regular UCLA should be getting those balls up. Yeah. And that's coming from definitely both of the outsides. Honestly, it's coming from everyone. I don't want to put the specific blame on anyone, but there's a lot of points here where on the defensive end, it's are we really locked in? Are we really really making sure we can play clean volleyball, especially on that defensive end?
Yeah, and again, that's the trademark for UCLA this whole season has been sometimes they just play the cleaner volleyball. They do not make mistakes. You have to beat them straight up. But again, this was maybe a time where UCLA kind of beat themselves. And again, that is because of their huge standard that they set for themselves, that they usually play so clean. But this was not that game. And again, it's difficult to do that against a really talented team in UC Irvine that, if you don't play your best, that sometimes could be the tide switch. And we saw it here. UC Irvine ended up winning this one.
Yeah, but I think we've been on this topic. We've been on this match for a very long time. We can finally move on to the next match. We still got a couple to go through.
That's okay. That's what everyone came here for, But we do want to talk about these other ones because there were still bangers.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But now let's move on to the other 5-setter of the day. We have Ball State versus Pepperdine, where I think low-key, including us, we did kind of think Pepperdine was going to win this.
Right. Yeah.
But Ball State came out here, proved us wrong. They won in 5.
Yeah, and this was another amazing game. I think, again, I didn't get to watch this live, unfortunately, but I mean, man, Ball State has time and time again really showed that they are really that good. And again, it's difficult to see in the MIVA, but now, they are punching above their weight. They are doing really, really well. We saw that at that Arizona Classic, that Southwest Classic, where they played against UCLA, and we saw, what the makings were of Ball State this season. And here we are. They beat Pepperdine in a 5-setter. This is amazing. It was cool that Ball State was also able to host it for themselves. So that's great for them to be able to show out. Illinois was packing the gym. It was amazing to see. But again, we kind of still thought that Pepperdine was going to win this game.
Yeah.
We just know the pedigree of, Cole Hartke and Ryan Barnett and just that whole squad in Pepperdine, that they are so good that it was going to be really difficult for Ball State to win it, but they still were able to pull it out. They were able to do it in 5.
Yeah, I think when it comes to us saying, specifically I said this, but I was like, Pepperdine, they'll always elevate to the moment. They are playoff performers. My bad, Ball State. You guys are true playoff ballers. Yeah. Especially wanted to shout out Lucas Machado. He is freaking him. He played an amazing match. He got the whole team touches. He was able to get everyone going, especially when Patrick Rogers was the one getting keyed in on by Pepperdine.
Yeah.
So Patrick Rogers, honestly, for himself, had I'd call it a bad game.
Yeah, I mean, to his standard, it's definitely not what you would expect and what you'd hope for, especially this time in the season. You want big games from Patrick Rogers. They didn't need that this time.
Yeah. I mean, when you have Ryan Lewis, who I was already pretty high on, not to say that he's just as good as Patrick Rogers, but I was like, he's a player who can get to that level, that high level, especially when he's getting hot. He can really be one of the most terminal players in NCAA. He showed it here. He was absolutely killing it. And Will Patterson from the middle, oh my God. He was like, sometimes middles don't carry games, but I'm going to show you guys how to carry.
Yeah, I mean, he was just as active as you would see from a pin hitter. They were setting him just as much as they actually did for Will on the pin. Mm-hmm. Basilo, or I'm sorry if I butchered that, but yes, for Will on the pin, he, again, just the impact that he was showing offensively was already there. It was amazing to see that they were able to pull this off without Patrick Rogers having a great game. And like you said, Pepperdine for sure was going to game plan for having to stop and slow down Patrick Rogers. And like you said, Lucas Machado and Ball State staff, they were ready for that. And they really able to open up the game with all the other hitters, and they trusted their guys that they were able to pull it off. They were going to be just as good when they needed to be. Shout out to all the guys. Ryan Lewis was amazing too.
Yeah, and I think, not to take away some credit from Patrick Rogers here where, maybe on that specifically attacking end, he wasn't able to excel, wasn't able to shine. But when it came to defense and serving, blocking even, he was still doing his thing. He was still finding ways to contribute. So I think it's good that he wasn't able to get down too much for maybe not having the best attacking game. He wasn't able to get down on himself. Yeah. He still decided to play his very best, make sure that his team was ready to come out and win this game.
Yeah, I mean, you could still tell he had immense impact on the game. That even though the defense was keyed in on him from Pepperdine, he was still ready for it. He knew ways that he had to compete against them. And I mean, like you said, the service line, he made it happen. I mean, that was match point, and he wins it with an ace. That's just amazing. And again, shows why he really is a great, great outside and a great player in NCAA. And it's amazing that he's able to really show that off to the rest of the country now. And it's not just Miva fans or Ball State fans and the other fans in Miva that are like, oh my God, this guy is so good. People just don't know
stop
yet.
Playing him.
Yeah, people just don't know it yet. But now he's able to show it to the rest of the country, and it's really awesome to see.
And he's going to be able to do it again in the next match because they are moving on. Pepperdine is going home. Unfortunately, it is tough to see the season end for them like this, especially because, we were kind of hyped up on them. I had Cole Hartke as a big front runner for my National Player of the Year.
Yeah.
But the season ends here for him, and I think himself and Ryan Barnett and Jose Gomez, honestly, they all kind of struggled, right?
Yeah.
They're all at around 25% or lower.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough when all of your 3 primary scorers aren't really scoring.
Yeah, and again, I think the service errors were also there that definitely made it more difficult for Cole Hartke, Ryan Barnett as well. And that really was always the thing about the season was you needed both of those guys to be going offensively for you to be able to beat these really, really good teams. And Ball State has been able to show that now on the national stage that you need to be able to have both Cole Hartke and Ryan Barnett swinging really well for them to be able to be competing. It didn't really happen today.
Yeah.
Of course, Cole Hartke, you look at it, 23 kills. He was still producing offensively, but again, 8 errors were there, 5 service errors. That does add up, and that does give more points to Ball State that was able to play a little bit cleaner, even with Patrick Rogers not having that great offensive game, like we were saying.
Yeah, I think it's more just making sure those errors weren't too impactful or too much there. So yeah, that's a real big difference.
Yeah, and the timely errors too. When does it happen? Because, to me, all errors are not made equally. Some of them definitely matter more, especially the timing of them when it happens. It definitely hurts a little bit more.
Yeah, but I'm excited to see Ball State move on. We are going to be there next week to see them in person.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to see.
Yeah,
it's gonna be awesome.
I'm glad that we're finally able to see them this season. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had the chance. So this is nice.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that is the end of the Pepperdine season.
Yeah, but now we can move on to the next matchup here. This one ended up a little bit shorter of a match. It was not the 5-game. It was Long Beach versus Loyola, where Long Beach 1-3.
Yeah, I mean, let's start there. Let's start with Long Beach. Again, Skylar Varga is continuing to show us, especially with our TikToks, that sometimes people think that we fade Skylar Varga and that we're not fans of him. But again, he showed reasons why he is so good. I talked about it last time, and you did as well, where Skylar Varga is national team level already, and he's doing that in college still, and you can see how dominant he is as a player and how complete of a player he really is. I mean, we already talked about how great he is at the service line, but offensively we know it, and then the passing, we said it a million times. One of the best passers, the best passer on the outside. He absolutely locking down that passing.
Yeah, and I think to just speak more about Long Beach as a whole here, it was crazy that Loyola was able to get their game plan off. They were able to get Wojciech Gajek to have a not as hard carry game that, we saw the other week.
Yeah.
But then it came at the expense of letting Skylar Varga and Connor Bloom have absolutely amazing offensive games. So that became a big problem for Loyola, and they weren't really able to recover from that.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even talk about the numbers, but Skylar Varga, Connor Bloom, both 14, 12 kills, and then over 400. Varga was over 500. I mean, they were unstoppable. But like we said, I mean, they were able to slow down Wojciech Gajek. He did not have his superstar game that he had against Hawaii and earlier in the Big West tournament. Now the question to me is always, is that his normal? Did he just come back down to earth from his superstar games? Or will he still be able to do that moving forward? Because again, this was still a very good, respectable Loyola Chicago team. But now looking forward, we'll talk about it in a second, but they're playing Hawaii again. Will he be able to show out? Because again, I think he's going to be important for them to be able to really compete for this national championship again.
Yeah, but I think for right now, when it comes to Long Beach versus Loyola Chicago, kind of getting into what both teams did that affected each other, Long Beach's serving continues to be best in the country because they were serving bombs at Loyola Chicago, and Loyola Chicago was not able to recover. One of my favorite middles in the game, Aiden Klein, was barely able to get the ball just because of how out of system they were getting. So it was brutal for Chicago there, Loyola Chicago.
And it's tough too, because I mean, we've kind of seen Loyola Chicago's offense kind of evolve throughout the season with their injuries and who's been able to be on the floor. And Aiden Klein became one of those go-to hitters, which you usually don't see in the middle, but he was such a featured part of that offense. And like you said, that the Long Beach serving was way too good that you could not get Aiden Klein involved as much as you would probably want to. Of course, you still have great pins for Loyola Chicago, but that game plan and who your offense is, Aiden Klein has been so amazing that it sucks that he wasn't able to get as much as you probably would want him to.
Yeah, I think he would have been important to get in the game, especially when Fabikovic was having a bad game.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what you needed to be able to do to maybe even open it up for Fabikovic.
Yeah.
But they weren't able to. They had to rely mostly on Josh Sellinger and Alexander Shosha,
who both did amazing, by the way.
Yeah, they both had their own great games. It's just when you're up against a Long Beach team that's this good, you really need all of your attackers to be firing on all cylinders. And when you are this out of system, it's going to be tough to do that.
Yeah, I mean, the serving was, and we've said this the whole time, and we were talking about this when we were mentioning UCLA, that UCLA serving is so good, but the only team that is better than them is Long Beach. Yeah. I mean, the errors are so low and the service pressure is so high. They do such a great job of managing their service line. I mean, it was 8 aces to 8 errors. I feel like you never see that in the men's game.
Definitely not.
And they were able to make that happen where they were even, and it was so many aces too. I mean, 8 aces in a 3-set match is ridiculous.
And that's not to count all the points where they're just getting Loyola Chicago so out of system, or even overpasses where, it's not statistically counted as an ace, but it might as well be an ace.
Yeah, and that really shows something that Long Beach is able to hold their hat on as what makes them such a great team, and they've been able to do it the whole season, is that service line pressure, which it makes it so interesting going into the semifinals where, they really are a dangerous team that could win it again if they're able to play this well. I mean, everyone on Long Beach was clicking. Jackson Chris, you've been singing his praises as a freshman. He's been so good. I mean, they've all been really good. Now we just have to see, how does it look going forward?
Yeah, and speaking of the semifinals, let's talk about that last quarterfinals match where we got Hawaii taking out USC 3-1. Now, we have, of course, interviewed many of these USC guys, so it's tough to see them go, but when you're watching Hawaii play this well, it's all good, It is what it is. We do have a lot of homies, lot of friends of the channel on USC, but Hawaii, we got homies as well on that squad, and it's great to see them ball out like this.
Yeah, and this is another team that we always say they're so talented and such a deep roster that you usually don't need one of them to pop off super crazily. And of course, it was a very balanced attack again this time, where really it's the three pins, and they all played really well. They were able to chip in. Christian, Louis, and Adrian, they all had really good games where they produced a lot of kills. Of course, efficiency is always a question, but
I'll say Christian Loki had a bad game, but I mean, he was still able to be fairly terminal. It's just more the errors that were starting to pile up.
Yeah, controlling the errors is definitely, I think, something that if he does, is always going to be a difficult thing for their opponents. But, terminal for sure. Yeah, it's just always controlling the errors.
Point ender.
Yeah. But Adrian and Louis was one that he did very, very well. I think the service line, we're usually used to a little bit more from him. Adrian, on the other hand, my God, he was the absolute star of the show for this team.
Nasty man.
He did such great things. Of course, you kind of see only 13 kills, but you look, he hit 450, and he had 7 aces. Yeah. That is absolutely absurd. That's usually the amount of aces that you'd see in a whole match for a team, and he did that by himself in 4 sets. Adrian was amazing.
Yep, absolutely balling. Of course, the middle's playing super well. Good to see Justin Todd back in.
Yeah.
We were concerned about him on the injury side, but it looks like he's all good. Although Ofek Hazan was playing very well on his own, but good to see Justin Todd back and still playing well. Travell Jordan, of course, errorless. So, he's balling out.
Yeah, and I really just hope Justin Todd is going to be healthy going forward because, again, you can see, although Ofek Hazan has been playing really well when he's been in, Justin Todd is still such a great middle that you can still feel his impact out there.
I think when Hawaii is playing this way, at least seeing Adrian play this well, I am excited for this semifinal matchup because when we last saw these two teams play last week, maybe we wanted a little bit more out of Adrian. Honestly, if he did the same thing that he did this match,
they would win.
Hawaii would have won.
Yeah.
So next week is going to be absolutely amazing. But now I just want to talk about USC and some of our boys there, and it was rough. It's rough to see them lose, of course. I think something that I mentioned last week was that Dylan, he had a couple rough games in the MPSF tournament, and he wasn't playing quite exactly to the level that, we expect him to. He was another one of the really big National Player of the Year candidates early on in the season before, I saw Cole Hartke doing his thing. He was my early on pick for National Player of the Year. He was my preseason pick for National Player of the Year. Didn't have the greatest game. Also, a lot of errors. Wasn't as terminal. 16 kills, 7 errors.
Yeah.
Not really, really what you wanted to see, especially in this moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough because he has such a high standard that he's set for himself this whole season. I mean, I swear he's been hitting like 400 for the season. It's something close to that, if not. And, you're just used to him being able to put the ball away and doing it efficiently, that when he doesn't do it, you can feel it for the team, that their go-to guy is just not to his standard as usual, because it is such a great standard. So unfortunately, it didn't go that way. But again, you always get to look at a Sterling Foley. I think he's, one of the great second outsides that you kind of think about for these really good teams that has a great outside already. He's right there. I mean, I think the only exception is like UCLA. I mean,
and Hawaii.
Yeah, and Hawaii. I mean, those two programs, I mean, they're just, it's nuts what they're able to do with their outsides. But Sterling Foley also had a pretty solid game. I mean, 13 kills, 33% hitting efficiency, so he also did pretty solid. Serving, he did okay as well, but again, you kind of want more, especially for their pins. When maybe their passing isn't always great, you want to be able to run the middle as much as you can with USC. I I think everyone kind of knows that's their game plan, that you want to get the middles going because it opens it up for their pins.
Yeah. I mean, Hawaii is also very good in the middle, but
Yeah.
the size of those USC middles, it's tough to compete against.
Yeah, I mean, they're always so efficient. I think this was actually one of the games where they were a little bit less efficient than they're usually. Usually those guys have one error maybe, or if not, they just have 0. I think this game they both had 2, which again is not that many, but to their standard, it might be a little bit more than they're used to.
Yeah, but USC, it's tough to see them go. I don't think anyone played like too specifically like bad. It's just Hawaii was overwhelming, and maybe USC wasn't fully ready for that on the defensive end.
Yeah, and I mean, one more thing, I mean, we can quickly talk about, Caleb did end up playing, but again, you could still tell he's not fully healthy, so Andrew Chapman was still in there. And again, he was playing really well even in that MPSF tournament at the end. But, I mean, Caleb has been your guy for the whole season, so...
Probably would have helped on the defensive end a little bit more as well.
Yeah, and he has been the guy running the show. Andrew Chapman, of course, had really great moments in the MPSF tournament. There's a reason why they were so good, but Caleb not being there is also another tough shot for them.
Yeah, so it's tough to send USC off like this, but... You know, they'll be back next year. Honestly, they are really just losing Dylan, which is a big loss, of course.
It's a huge loss.
There's a lot to look forward to for this program next year. But now we've wrapped up all these games. Let's talk about semifinals, finals. We have the matchups here. We know what's going to happen. And what do we think about how this bracket is going to go? We're going to be there in person. We're going to see what happens in person. But these matches are still absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really tough. I think I just have to say, I think UC Irvine is actually going to win this first game. Against Ball State. I think the way that they have been playing, this is their run. I do believe in UC Irvine. Of course, Patrick Rogers, I've been a huge fan of what he's been able to do this season, and it's really great what Ball State has done for the conference of MIVA. But UC Irvine, I think this is just their moment, and they're playing so hot. They're like a freight train, and I don't know if Ball State is going to be able to stop them with just how great they've been able to play.
And speaking of conferences, let's go Big West out here representing.
Yeah.
I mean, we got 3 of the 4 teams in the semifinals, all from the Big West. These are all of the teams that we sent into the tournament, all here in the semifinals. You'll love to see it as a, my team's not here, but I'll say, that's what, we're part of the toughest conference in the nation, so, I don't mind too much.
It's tough. I mean, right? MPSF also sent 3 teams, and they are all out.
Yeah.
So I guess for this season, you can't really make that argument.
Yeah.
I'll leave that be. But let's talk about the other one. Or, well, what do you think about that UC Irvine Ball State one?
Yeah, I think just looking at these 2 teams, the way that UC Irvine has been playing, the way that they're able to kind of put things together holistically as a team, I think is really crazy. Now, Ball State, they were able to do that too in their match versus Pepperdine, where, we didn't see, it wasn't the Patrick Rogers show, but I think just the way that UC Irvine is absolutely elite, especially I'm thinking Trevor Clark is going to go off again, once again, and just hit from that middle at almost unstoppable efficiency.
I mean, it's going to be like 600 probably. That's just what he's been doing the whole season.
Yeah, I honestly don't know if Ball State quite has the answer for that. And then once that's going, they freeze up the pins, and now you're looking at your team is getting overwhelmed from every single angle.
Yeah, and I think something that's going to be very interesting is, the game plan that UC Irvine is going to have against Ball State, because we did see what Pepperdine was trying to do, and the main MO is to stop Patrick Rogers as much as you can, slow him down, and then force other players to try and beat them. Of course, Ball State was able to do that, but I think UC Irvine, like you were saying, this is such a great defensive team that I think this is a different challenge for Ball State to be able to still beat this type of defense, because we gave them a whole segment for UC Irvine that on all levels, their defense is so amazing. With their block, the back row defense is always there. It's going to be really difficult, but I think Ball State is still going to have a good game. It's going to be a great game to watch. I do think UC Irvine, the defense that they have and the offense after that, I think that transition game, UC Irvine might take that one.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Big West anyway, so I was always going to be rooting for UC Irvine. But speaking of the Big West, now we have the rematch of the Big West Championships, but in the semifinals.
Yeah, Hawaii, Long Beach again. And like I said, to me, the question is who's going to be better on the right side? Christian, of course, we saw it last match. He had a good amount of kills, 19, but 10 errors along with that. So it's his efficiency. And then Wojciech Gajek, is he going to come back and be the star of the show, man? with his amazing games in the Big West tournament. And it is Hawaii. It is a familiar opponent that he just did that against a week ago. Can he recreate that? To me, that will tell me if Long Beach will win it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be able to do that, so I'm going Hawaii.
I mean, we're wearing these shirts for a reason. But I think just speaking about Hawaii and Long Beach, this matchup, what I think could be a difference maker this time is that now Hawaii has lost most recently. They have like not film, but they have that experience just playing against them.
Yeah.
I think they're the ones who are a little bit hungrier for that revenge now. But Long Beach, it will be tough. The serving, it will not be there's no letting up on the serving, and as much as you can prep for it, how much really can you be ready for serves of that caliber?
Yeah, I really am curious to see how they approach defending Long Beach. I think, again, like what Loyola Chicago was trying to do and slowing down Wojciech Gajek, I think Hawaii is probably going to try and do some of that as well and kind of test the waters on it. Is he having a good game or not? Shut him out, and then you have to key in on Middles and Skylar Varga. I guess we'll have to see how that goes. Of course, Hawaii does have also very good defense as well. I do think Adrian, if he's rolling like he was last game, 7 aces from the service line and really efficient hitting, that could definitely tip the scales.
Yeah, I think the signs are looking really good for Hawaii right now just because things are rolling for them. But same side for Long Beach, you saw great games from Skylar Varga. So I don't know. I don't know exactly. I think we're going to get another 5-set banger.
I mean, just full disclosure, right? We're talking a lot of Hawaii here, but I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I do think this is also going to probably be like a 4 really close sets, or it's going to just go 5. We've kind of seen that. It's kind of been the theme of the season, that there's just going to be crazy close games. I think there's going to be another banger for the season that it could end up deciding who wins it because both those teams are very, very good.
Yeah, and while we're talking about it, whichever of these teams moves on, right now we have Hawaii. Do you think that they're going to beat the other team we have moving on, UC Irvine, in that final?
If that's how we're going with the bracket, I will say Hawaii because shout out Matt Houlihan. I filled out his bracket. I had UCLA winning the whole thing. Of course I'm wrong. Of course I'm wrong in that now, and I understand that. But I did have Hawaii losing in that championship game with UCLA gone. And it's UC Irvine instead. I have a little bit of reservation because UC Irvine has definitely earned their respect, and they are so good. That's why I'm still going to go with Hawaii, though.
All right, and then for me, I think I do like the storyline that UCI has been going on this kind of big run. But it's like Hawaii or Long Beach, whichever one it is, they are still from the same conference. They've both beaten UC Irvine. So I think with how we have it written up, I'm also going to go Hawaii. It's been done before, and I think at least for Hawaii, Adrian Rohr, he's been on it, and I think we have Adrian and Louis both playing hard. I think that's going to lead to victory. Even though, UC Irvine, they have everything firing on all cylinders for them as well.
Yeah, I think it's just a tough call to make just because of how well Irvine is playing right now. But again, I think Hawaii is still kind of getting the ball rolling. They're bouncing back from that Big West tournament. I think they're both peaking at the right time, so it's going to be hard to say, but we still go Hawaii out here.
Oh, yeah. And I think that'll wrap it up for our coverage on the NCAA Men's Championships. We've talked about this first round, these regional rounds. We've talked about the future semifinals and finals. Now we will hopefully see you guys there next week at the matches. We will be there in person. We will also be there doing some blind rankings and other games with people in person. If you guys want to come participate, we'll welcome you on the channel. Hopefully get some interesting takes out of you guys. So be sure to check out our Instagram. We'll be posting exactly where we're posted up. And yeah, come say hi.
We will be at Poly Pavilion. Meet us out there. Show out. We're going to be there watching a bunch of great volleyball. We're so excited. I hope you guys are excited too. It's going to be a great weekend.
So thanks again for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. In the comments, I guess, just tell us if you're going to be there and who you have winning the national championship right now.
And what did you think about that call?
Oh yeah, was it
UCLA?
Touch or no touch? That's the only comment you need to put. But thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.